Yes. Welcome to the stream. Who have we got in chat real quick? Yes. Congrats on 1.4k, says This Is City. Big ups, man. Took us a little while to get there, but honestly, I'm not too bothered about how long it takes to get somewhere, as long as we get there. That's the main thing. But yeah, big ups to everyone that has contributed towards that, whether you've just been a regular viewer or if you're a new viewer who dropped us a big ups to everyone. But today we're talking about midfielders. Predominantly attacking midfielders, because obviously that's going to be a subject with Kevin De Bruyne leaving, names popping up everywhere. Wirtz, Gibbs White, Cherki, more. Yes, Renegade, big ups, how you doing, man? But we're also going to have a look at a recent transfer rumour. A player that would be the ideal Gundogan replacement. So we're going to look at it all, really. This is kind of like a transfer roundup, but because we're also mainly looking at midfielders, we're going to just talk about midfielders, really. But if you want to talk about defenders, attackers, let me know. Because I'm not going to be a spoil and say no. All good, bro. How are you doing, says Renegade? I'm doing great. I'm actually feeling good. You know, I've had a pretty long day in terms of, like, doing stuff, but I like to be busy. So, yeah, here we are. Good to be streaming. Didn't stream yesterday. Had a little rest, but back on today, and hopefully going to be back on tomorrow too. So yes. Went for a walk over there. Went for a walk up a mountain today. Don't think I've ever been so soaked. Hay fever when it was raining down water off the trees. Big up, how are you? Did you see the reindeer news? Yep, that is literally the transfer news I was just referring to, the ideal Gundogan replacement. But yeah, we will have a look at that. We'll have a look at that now, as that's kind of breaking. I mean, I don't really know how good this guy is. Pretty solid if we're willing to spend about 65 million on him. But yes, I suspect it'll be on here somewhere. Ilkay Gundogan has triggered the 1-year contract extension, but that does not guarantee his future at the club. It just means that is triggered and he has an extra year on his contract, which I don't think is actually an awful thing, by the way. And if you want me to touch on that, I will. As things stand, according to these guys, as things stand, a return for Kyle Walker's most likely scenario for the right back this summer, with doubts emerging. AC Milan all signals pointing towards them not wanting to pay the 5 million buy option. My response to this is, yeah, I actually do think this is a possibility that AC Milan don't want to buy the buy option. But Fabrizio said, no matter whether AC Milan buy him or not, he is not staying with City. Oh, blinking, I meant to share my screen. YouTube is a mad place. Someone who I've never seen before drops 2 hate comments on me that make no sense and dips. Should have kept it KDB 1 more year. I agree. You know, I think it could have been so good no matter who we bring in. I actually think, to be honest, I think there could have been a bit more wiggle room on your KDB replacement if you kept KDB. Okay, because now I feel like it's Florian Wirtz or take a gamble on someone. But I think let's say we sign Cherki, okay? And let's say Kevin De Bruyne has decided to stay another a year. All right, we sign Cherki, we spend about 50 million on him. He's had a great season in Ligue 1. All right, we bring him over. Now, KDB can almost mentor Cherki. Cherki's still very young, 22, something like that. He's still a very young lad with years to go. He's in a similar age bracket to Wirtz. All right, Kevin De Bruyne will try and pump into him everything that he knows. Then Kevin De Bruyne can leave next year. And Cherki will look. He's not going to be blinking. Man, I'm trying to get the words out. He's not going to be Kevin De Bruyne just after a year of playing with him, but it's going to be good to have someone that's learned under De Bruyne. You know, Gundo would definitely be useful next season. Pep just needs to stop playing him. He should be ahead of double pivot, helping out Rodrigo in the pivot. That's my thing on Gundo. I think Gundo works. I think Gundo can stay at the club. I actually don't think Gundogan has to leave. I think Gundogan can stay as long as he's playing alongside Rodri or Nico Gonzalez. Don't get me wrong, odd game where he has to not do that. That's fine, okay? But you can't have your a main pivot be Kova and Gundo or Gundo Bernardo. You can't. I actually think there is a future for Gundo because I think in the performances we've seen recently when he's played alongside Nico Gonzalez, he's been so much better. Now then, as for this Rangers guy, again, I don't really know much about him. I really just know that he plays for AC Milan. And that's really as far as my knowledge goes. Also, that he's a pretty key player in that side, to my knowledge. But yeah, I'm not 100% sure. But again, this could be the long-term replacement for Ilkay. My computer's been really slow trying to load this up, so bear with it. I'm trying to load up Transfer Market. It's just gone really slow all of a sudden. Oh, just opened a new tab on accident. My bad. Bernardo has to leave. He has no use whatsoever. I agree. I do think Bernardo should go, but he's not going to go because Pep loves him. But yeah, I absolutely do agree. If there's one midfielder, I think Bernardo is my personal top priority in that midfield to go. As mean as that sounds for someone that's been at the club for 8 years, for me, he is the top priority. Slowest player in the league at 30, by the way. 30 years old. You should not be the slowest player in the league. I think his legs are going early because I just think all that running he's done for us over the years, I think it's really burnt him out. This says here, at this point I'm confused. I'm convinced Bernardo has... Bernardo has had no use for 24 months. Genuinely like playing with 10 men now. Last season it was more bearable because he would pop up with some really good games, and some important goals. Like that free kick against Real Madrid, that lovely little bit of technique he produced against Newcastle on that flick goal. There is no doubt that Bernardo has given everything for us, and I think every City fan will be really appreciative of that. I know I am. Bernardo's just been a great servant to the club, and is such a talented midfielder. Okay, I don't think anyone would disagree with you on that. But I'm trying to find this Rangers guy on Transfer Market. I don't know how I'm struggling. But there comes a time. My personal to-go list. All right, Renegade, I'm ready for it. Let's see. I'll let you know what I agree and disagree with. Anyway, should be able to find this guy now. Rangers, here we go. Alright then, here is Rangers. Man City's ideal replacement for Ilkay Gundogan. Now then, bad news. Seems like he's recently signed a contract extension. He ain't going anywhere for a while. 2030. So AC Milan are in a position of power in terms of his contract. This season, 14 goals, 4 assists. Not too shabby, to be fair. That's almost 20 GNA. He'll probably finish on 20 GNA, to be fair to him. So, yeah, not too shabby. Ilkay Gundogan did used to produce similar numbers. His main position is central midfield, with defensive midfield and attacker midfield as other positions he can fill in. Yeah, that seems to be the main stuff in terms of the goal contributions. I'll go to injury history, see how he is. Brilliant. Only one injury in his pretty long career so far. Kova, Bernardo, Kevin Stones, Walker, and Gundo. I'd be surprised if all 4 of those go in terms of the midfield. Kevin has a lot to offer, in my opinion. I think Kevin's got one more year in him, but the Kevin De Bruyne talk in terms of should he stay, should he go, is null and void now because sadly he is going. You know, maybe it's sentimentality, maybe I'm being biased, but I do think I think games like he just had against Palace prove that he's got something to offer. You know, and if he can stay fit for a season. Did you see he could be going to a rival? Yeah, didn't he say that his time in England might not be done, or something? Bad time to say that because it's just a bit awkward. I don't think he meant anything bad by it, but yeah, it's a weird thing to say. I wouldn't blame KDB. It's the club's fault. They offered him no contract, and you can tell KDB ain't happy with that. Yeah, I mean, I want us to keep Kevin De Bruyne. I don't know why we didn't offer him a deal, like a 1-year deal. We kept offering Fernandinho deals. Like, come on. I seriously don't get it. Yeah, but Rangers. I've not seen this guy play much football. To be fair, my knowledge on him is quite limited. But he seems to be a good player. I know he's a key player in the AC Milan side, at the very least. Don't know how AC Milan are actually doing this season, but hey, it could be an interesting addition. And he's also a ready-made player. He's 26. He's not potential. You know, he's not a future star. He's not a guy that's going to go on loan or anything like that when he joins. This guy is coming in to play football at the highest level because he believes he is at that level now. He's entering those peak years. And he's joining in on a big project. We signed Gundo at a similar age, I believe. Should have kept Gundo and KDB for squad depth. That's it. Not Gundo, Bernardo, Kovacic. KDB and Gundo can be good legs around them now and then. Bernardo just can't. I know, but I think we can just let him go. If he stayed longer, I'm just afraid it would ruin his legacy. I don't know if his legacy would be ruined. I think it's too good. I wish we could have gone for Kvara, man. Do you know what the thing is with this? My thing is, yeah, it's not even price tag that's the issue on this one. Because Kvara cost PSG 70 million. If we offered 70 million, okay, I know that you might say, oh, well, our 70 million pound player was Omar Marmoush. I really don't care, to be honest, because I know we didn't spend in the summer. I'm pretty sure we've got more money in our wallet we can dish out. Yeah, I think we've got such a big wallet in transfer markets. With all the players we sell, plus the base fee the base amount of money you've got, I think you can easily go for this. 70 million for Kvara is a absolute steal, and people will realise that. Sorry, I didn't mean the Flames. Could have got Kvara instead of Hayes, though. Who would you rather? I mean, right now, I'd rather Kvara. Okay, and that's not in disrespect to Hayes, but Hayes has barely kicked a football. He's like had 2 games or something. Like, I feel bad for Hayes because there was an option for him to stay with Palmeiras until the end of the season, but City actively said, "No, we want you now." Why did you want him now and then not play him? Are you seriously only going to play him if he gets injured? If there's like an injury crisis? But even now, like, you could have played Hayes recently. But he decided to stick Vardy at centre-back and put Nico Riley on left-back, which is fine. I'm fine with that. But I'm just saying, opportunities have been there for him to play. Kvara all day, not going to lie. Yeah, for me, it's Kvara, but I think we could get both, to be honest, if we were back in that January. We overpaid for Hayes because we said we needed him now. Could have got him 10 to 20 in the summer. Kvara in January, big floor, in my opinion. Yeah, I think we can get both. I think there is a way that we have our cake and eat it, as the saying is, to be honest. Big up to everyone that's tuning in, by the way. I think we need to smarten up in transfer windows, man. Hayes will get game time pre-season, lads. That's only like 18. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that Hayes is cooked here, but I want to see him a bit more. And I know he'll get minutes in pre-season, but I just hope it's a bit more than that. Rico quotes. Pep quotes. City wants to sign Blackburn wherever his attacking midfield talent. Oh, blinking heck. 13. 12. Blinking heck. Imagine they joined the first team squad. Bayer Leverkusen want James McAtee and Stefan Ortega. Old news. Are set to Manchester City are set to use an interest as leverage for a number one summer target following Wirtz. Officials from the Bundesliga club made a planned visit to the Etihad campus during the week and sounded out the prospect of signing McAtee and Ortega. Manchester City will sell if the price is right. McAtee's for 25, Ortega's for 15. Those two plus 100 million give us Wirtz. Also, our Scouts Connect. They clearly scouted Doku's club and decided Doku's best in dough. That generational hate watch day 1 year ago. True, I get you. It winds me up that we don't see younger kids getting a chance, but I guess that's the cost of success. Yeah, good point. Yeah. Anyway, let's have a look at some midfielders. All the time we get mixed up in all this. I do want to have a look at Cherki because he is having it's not Cherki. Because he is having a great season. I checked him out. He's 22 this year. Again, similar age to Wirtz. Now you actually see they had a dip here. You know, he really only started cooking this season, really. You know, he peaked. You know, he's like a young guy. You know, being a key player, but he seems to have dropped and just maybe didn't get better. But this season, he's quite clearly gone from strength to strength. Getting double figures in both respects, almost on 30 GNA. No doubt he'll hit that. Missed the first 4 games of the season, and he's got a contract till 2026. The price on this guy would be great. You know, we could probably get this guy for at most 50 million in the summer. Okay, someone will swipe this guy up because I think he's not going to stay at Lyon. Arsenal 0, Villa 2, Liverpool 0, Palace 1, Golden Day. It's the day that everything changed. Yeah, he seems a real top player. Even against United, he did as good. You know, scoring a last-minute equaliser. So I think this guy's probably thinking he's ready for the step up. And at that also, let's say that we didn't get Champions League football. I'm just saying it. You know, not that I want it, but I don't think the prospect of no Champions League football wouldn't be attractive to this guy. Now then, that changes if, say, Liverpool come in and they've got Champions League football. Suddenly we're in trouble. But we swipe in quickly. We say, if we're in Europa League, but we're going to be in Champions League next season. Have no worry about that, mate. And he'll be like, okay, 1 more year in the Europa League. I'm absolutely fine with that. I'm 22. I'll be 23 by the time we're in Champions League. I'm laughing. So, for me, it's not an awful move. But again, it's a bit of a gamble. No one signed Cherki because of attitude problems, apparently. Massive ones. Yes, I actually did hear about this. His attitude isn't great from what I hear. But I think on the Blue Friday show we actually tackled that. We spoke about Cherki briefly, I swear. And I think it came down. I think we were like, I think it was Luke that mentioned it. Where are Lyon in the league? They're fourth. Not too bad. I'm trying to remember what the exact words were used. I think it was a whole thing of basically thinking, trying to think. That is a big one. I get what you mean. It could just be the look of him. It could just be that, but I understand your concerns. I also don't think this image is doing him any justice. I think the whole thing was how good Cherki is, and how his teammates aren't meeting his level was what Luke was saying his attitude could be. Because if he comes to Man City, where he's got great players, like De Bruyne has just left, and other great players like Ruben Diaz, Rodri, who's won a Ballon d'Or and a treble, and if he's got attitude problems in a team like that, then he's truly clueless. I think it's environments that we've got to be wary of. I saw an angle of him with a bear sticking out though. Oh man. But Ryan Cherki, of course, he's not my number one target. And he's probably not yours either. We all know who is. It's the guy we talk about almost every stream at least once. It's Florian Wirtz. A man that will not be cheap, but we should know that. A man that's probably going to go to Bayern Munich if anywhere. But we're still going to hold out hope. He's on 28 GNA this season. Similar to Cherki, having a great year. But again, he's done it twice in a row for his side. Now then, don't think they're winning the Bundesliga this season. Leverkusen. I believe Bayern Munich are flying in terms of that. Oh, Blinkeneck. Sorry, I'm watching the Lazio game here against Roma. Can't believe they haven't scored that. Sorry about that. But Florian Wirtz, he's obviously the primary target. He's had 2 great seasons on the bounce. He just seems to be going strength to strength. This season especially. You might be thinking, his numbers don't seem as good this season. But at the same time, his whole team's dropped off in quality level. The team isn't meeting the standards that they were last season. And so for me, that's what I think that is kind of what it comes down to. Similar to Haaland this season, how Haaland is still producing banging numbers, but they aren't as good as last season because the whole team has dropped off. But because of how good he is, he's still really getting good numbers. He's obviously the primary target. That's been made very clear. And look, to get a player like this, you're going to have to spend big. City should know that before we go in. Because it's clear that we're at least going to try. I just don't know how hard we're going to try. It's the club's fault about Wirtz dropping all business from January last week, when Beana drops, is a complete disaster. If that report is true, about us not doing anything in that time period. Bruh. Well, we need to start cooking then. Alright? If that's true, and we're only just starting to do stuff, then we need to start doing some work. We need people on overtime doing the trick. So it's going to be a difficult deal, no doubt. But look, Ortega plus McAtee, that's 40 million. 100 million. Maybe add a couple bonuses if you want. Not much, but maybe 1 or 2. Because, again, we're adding 2 players to our squad. A pretty solid goalkeeper and a young attacking midfielder, similar to Wirtz. Okay, and if they can unlock his potential, then suddenly they've got real talent. Unfortunately, in my opinion, we've let Bayern gain a big advantage. That's why we got to start working. We need at least 400 mil for the summer. Yeah, I mean, I'm hearing that we're at least going to have 300, but the more the merrier is what I say, Renegade. And look, with the amount of... We'll sell academy talents in the summer as well. We sell academy talents for like 20 million at times. Like Romeo Lavia, I think was like 15 million. I think Delap was 20 million. You know, that's 35 million just from 2 players. We sell players like that, okay, we suddenly make a lot of the Wirtz money. And a lot of other player money. I made a list. I don't think 300 would be enough. It's going to be a weird one, isn't it? I believe Renegade would probably be right. Yeah, I think 400 is ideal. I'll never forget when Chelsea spent 400 in one summer. To be honest, that was wild. But hey, I'm not going to complain. Chelsea got that off the hook, so will we. Now then, next person I want to have a look at is the guy that's in the thumbnail, Alex Beana. Now then, I don't actually know how good this guy's been since the last time we spoke about him, but all I know is that he's created, like, at the time, the most chances in Europe, or something like that. Now then, the goal contribution's not too great, but again, he's not in the greatest side of the world. No disrespect to Villarreal, they're solid. Don't get me wrong. You know, I think they're a pretty regular team in terms of Europe at the very least. So, you know, they're not a bad team by no means. Now then, I think this guy's the biggest gamble of them all. I think this is a player that is either a player that you sign for 50 million, for like 60 million, and he's Mateus Nunes, or he's a player you sign for 60 million and he's Kevin De Bruyne. You know, I think he is that gamble. I don't think he's okay. I don't think he's going to be all right. I think he's either going to be class, or I think he's going to just be bang average. To be honest, that's where I think I lie with this guy. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say I watch him all the time. Of course I don't. You know, I hardly watched him, but seems to be a solid player in this team. Now then, Spanish talents in the Liga do tend to go to Spanish teams. You know, that is a trend. You know, and even at times when they do leave, they'll eventually go back. Ferran Torres is a key example of that. And even if Rodri in some world, which I hope never happens, ends up in Real Madrid, Spanish talents do tend to go back. A lot of people say it's because of the weather, but Ferran Torres said that he used us as a stepping stone. And for all we know, this is another one of them. Now then, I don't think we've really been linked with this guy, to be fair, but I don't think he'd be the worst option. He's got 3 years left on his deal. That does make this transfer a bit harder to do. You know, because again, they're in a bit of a position of power. Transfer records, injury record's pretty good. Good age profile. He's turning 24 this year, so he's slightly older than Cherki and Wirtz, but still not too bad. He's still got plenty of years to go. I think that's similar age that we signed De Bruyne at. Now then, we'll switch back over to Twitter now. See if we can find anything. De Bruyne. Yeah, we're just back here. Yeah, we're hitting old stuff now. And trying to think of other players that we could go for. I mean, look, there is always Echeverri. Imagine he's that guy. Imagine Echeverri became that guy. I don't think he will, to be honest. I don't think he's got that trust yet to even get a chance. You know, he can't even make bench right now. I'm really excited to see him next season. Echeverri. You know, I think Echeverri could have a good part to play in our preseason. I think he'd be one of those. I'm really excited to see David Mukasa. Imagine he became like our next guy. You know, he's having an incredible season in the academy. He's set like 42 goal contributions. Really, really good. I know academy numbers aren't, you know, they don't do actual numbers justice. You know, just because he's got 42 in the Liga. No, in the academy, he may not even get 5 when he plays for us. But look, we'll have to wait and see in terms of our preseason talents, you know, academy wise. I just hope whoever we bring in I pray it's Wirtz, but we're gonna have to wait and see. It's gonna be one hell of a transfer saga trying to sign Florian Wirtz. Big up to everyone who's tuned in. I appreciate the support as per usual, especially to everyone who's contributed to hitting 1.4k. Now then, apologies if I've missed any key talents. Again, feel free to let me know in like a community post, any recommendations and whatnot. So look, big up to you all. Go watch it. Go watch the City stream. He starts like now, so yeah. Go watch the City stream. He does great content there too. See you all in the next one.